Halloween
Forever.
And the Lord gaveth to his disciples an abundance of spookies and of spices, and said, take and eat, do this in remembrance of me. Welcome, boys and ghouls, to another fucking review of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
We are here. We are in, guys.
Farmer.
I don't know if you've checked the calendar lately. The most recent version of the calendar. The updated calendar, the new one.
I'm still looking at the
This
Mayan
is
calendar.
I know you're looking at some old shit. Get the new one, because this is the last episode of September.
Holy shit.
Do you know
I
what that
it came
means?
up on us real hard, real fast.
You got to look at that AD calendar.
Yeah, look at that new shit calendar, because next episode
After
it is
Dracula?
October. After Drac.
After Drac.
Yeah. Next episode will be our first one of October. Not to look past this episode, but goddamn, I'm excited for next episode. And we're actually going to do a really, we're going to pick what we're going to talk about next episode, which frankly, I'm more excited about than talking about this show we're going to talk about, to be completely honest with you.
I concur.
But welcome. Thank you once again for tuning in, everyone out there. I wanted to say before we jump too far into this bad boy and talking about what we're going to talk about today, which is the new Netflix series, which just released a couple of days ago, Midnight Mass, which we all delved into in various quantities. But I do want to say something right off the bat. Holy shit, we're getting a lot of people listening to the show.
Yeah.
Like way more than any of us ever thought we would have, let alone a
this
few months
early
in.
at least.
Yeah, it's really kind of wild how many people are listening to the show. So first of all, thank you very, very, very much. And we're going to have a ton of really fun stuff coming up here in October. But also, we have some other shows that are releasing. Actually, one released last week. We got some other ones coming up, which we are going to be guesting with some other fun spooky ooky shows. I know I was on the Spooky Times with Eric D last week, and we listen, no surprise, I talked way too much, and he decided to split it up into a two-parter. But we talked about Halloween kind of sitcom episodes, kind of like we did. On one of our Showdown episodes recently. It was really, really fun. So definitely check Eric. Super nice guy. He was also an extra in Hubie Halloween.
I heard that.
And we talked about it, which was super fun.
It sounded like you guys are now best friends.
Yeah. He's moving in. We have a spare bedroom. He's moving in. It's going to be a whole compound here. And we are also going to be, I think all of us at some capacity are going to be individually guesting on over time here. I know next week I'm going to be on with the guys from Haunted Hangover, which is really fun.
Sweet.
Meg, there was one as well that I think you're going to be on here pretty quick,
we need
right?
to get set a date. But yeah, Horror Soup, we've got that hookup too.
Yeah.
Hanging out with friends. I like it. I'm kind of excited to like kind of dip into other people's worlds and like
Rising spooky tides raise all spooky boats. That's what I say.
And then I'll be on the main Damie coming up with their show called They Called This a Movie.
Yeah.
And they've been doing this for a long time, but like they do the 31 Days of Horror on their blog. And then like Anthony, who's one of the main hosts, him and I went to film school together.
Oh,
so,
rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are very, very excited and happy to be getting involved with all of our other spooky friends out there. So check those out. And the best way to know when those sorts of things are happening, as well as when we release episodes, is on the social media. So I'll do it right now before I forget, because normally it's Steve kicking me under the table going, hey, dickhead, are you going to remember to say this?
Do the thing.
Do the thing, you dick. You have so few things to remember. And that is, check us out on the social media. So not only do we post stuff like that, but also you get to help us vote on our upcoming Showdown episodes, and you can suggest topics and all those sorts of things. We absolutely love when that's the case. On Instagram, we're at Halloween is Forever, at Hallow Forever on Twitter, Halloween is Forever podcast on Facebook, and Halloween is Forever pod at gmail.com. If you want to send us one of them emails.
Also,
we're getting a little
what's the
excited on
TikTok,
TikTok
Meg?
too.
Oh yeah, what's
I was
the
like,
TikTok? We have
I
a
think it's
TikTok.
Halloween is Forever.
I think you're right.
Suppose.
Yeah. Meg's doing our TikTok over there as well now. She's the only one who knows what TikTok is. She recently learned what TikTok is. She's off and running on it. I still don't know what
I'm
it is.
giving it a go.
Yeah,
honest try here.
But check us out over there on the Ticks as well as the Talks.
Yeah, if you really like watching me shotgun beers out of pumpkins, watch us on TikTok.
I honestly think you were saying it's got like 10,000 views on the Instagram
People
Reels.
do enjoy that. So
Apparently, people fucking love it. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I was cracking up. So yes, please check us out there. And as always, the offer still remains. If you shoot us a review on Apple Podcast or wherever, if there's a review function on whatever your podcatcher is, screenshot it, DM it to us or email it to us, and I'll send you some goddamn stickers in the mail.
hell yeah.
Yeah. I don't give a shit. I'll send you stickers. I'll send you so many fucking stickers. Cover your car in stickers. I'm
going to set the bar higher. We should get little baggies like those. You know, when we were younger, we should have talked about this on the memories. Get little baggies and like Halloween baggies
treat
with
bags.
candy treat bags. Yeah.
There was always Dum Smarties and something shitty.
Yeah. It's all shitty candy.
But you
It'll
can just
probably
buy the
include
bags.
Necco
Like the
wafers.
best houses bought the bags and put good shit in them.
Right.
Yeah.
They were like not prefab. They were just like about a little thing of bags you bought, and then you filled it in with, Reese's cups and good shit.
Lots of goodness.
Yeah. In any case, let's jump in to... as I mentioned, we are having a little Holy Communion here, and everything here is fully transubstantiated, so this is literally the body and blood. We have spookies and we have spicies. We have what do you do first? Anybody have any preference?
Let's do the spooky.
Did you do spookies?
I think the
or do you want to
spookies
do
are-
beers first? I always forgot.
We can do
We
beers?
also have beers. We have so many things.
We have the blood of grist.
Blood of grist. That's a fucking t-shirt right there. Speaking of t-shirts, I'm wearing my Halloween's Forever t-shirt right now.
Came out nice.
Yeah, they came out really nice, and a bunch of people ordered them, which we were super, super excited about. If you go to our Instagram account or our
link tree,
or just the link tree on any of our social medias, you can go to t-shirts and merch, and you can buy not just t-shirts, but mugs and sweatshirts and t-shirts and tank tops and whatever the fuck you want from TeePublic. We've got a few different designs that Steve did on there, so they're pretty friggin' cool. Let's talk about some beers. I'll go first because I feel like I always put it on you guys to go first. I am drinking a beer that Meg gifted to me today, which is from Cinderlands Beer Company here in beautiful Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Danville Train. This is the Danville? That's like a series they do, right?
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is. I might be wrong. I don't know.
I have no answers for that.
This one's called Danville Train, and this is their Festbier Stahlagerbier. So I think we talked about a couple of episodes ago. Festbier is just like basically a pale, hoppier version of a stronger, paler, hoppier version of a Helles, as opposed to like a Märzen style Oktoberfest, which is like the more amber, malty type of Oktoberfest beer. In any case, digging it.
Yeah, I love their can designs too. I feel like
simple,
they did it right.
Elegant, I would go as far as to say.
Super modern.
But yeah, it's got really nice mouthfeel to it. It's got like some body. I don't know why I led with the mouthfeel, whatever. But it's got nice body to it, and a nice firm bitterness, which I dig in these beers, like highly attenuated, nice firm bitterness. I'm definitely digging the hell out of it. What do you guys got?
We are collectively drinking the same beer over here.
I'm gonna have to splash you some of that after this.
I snagged up also, like besides the Danville Train, Profondo, an Italian style Pilsner by our friends at Hop Farm.
That's a fun word to say with a Yinzer accent.
Profondo.
Jen's gonna get a case of Profondo. You didn't get down a strip. I heard they got.
I feel like you should do like a voice message to Malcolm.
Yeah. Listen, Malcolm's from Boston. All right, he's Massachusetts boy. Shout out to our good friend Malcolm Frazier over at Top Farm.
I just appreciate him being in the beer industry here in Pittsburgh now and being able to have his beers because I just get really excited. I'm also enjoying.
Do not tell him I said he was a good brewer. I mean, he is, and he knows he is, but don't tell him because his head is going to get fucking out of control. But they're doing good stuff down there. And Matt is always a good dude. I like those guys on there.
Yeah, I know. I've worked with them in various projects, so I was like, I had been wanting to get down there just to try a couple of the beers they've been putting out, and I saw this at the distro, and I'm like, okay, yep, all right.
Yeah, he felt very. You know what? I take this back. We were at an Oktoberfest party with a bunch of mutual friends. at Jack Smith's house. He has a big Oktoberfest party. He's got a really cool big smoking rig and just makes like an abundance of sausages. And I squeezed my ass into my lederhosen and we went over and drank some beers. And Malcolm did bring the Italian pills because I remember I was very proud of myself because I called the hop variety. And I was like, oh yeah. And he was like, you think you're fucking cool.
This is the level we're at.
I was very excited. I was very excited about it. I was very proud of myself. Anyway, I have had it. It's really, really nice. He was really proud of it, and I think rightly so. But again, please do not tell him I said that.
What makes an Italian-style Pilsner an Italian style? Like, what is that?
Yeah, so it all kind of comes back to like a couple of different beers, but I would say stylistically, like the big hallmarks of the style for me is oftentimes it's fermented a little bit warmer, a little bit more lively fermentation, so it has a little bit more of a kind of fruity ester component to it. It oftentimes has a little kind of softer, rounder bitterness to it. And there's one other kind of big hallmark that I'm forgetting right now.
Hopping?
And what the hell is it?
I feel like they're usually dry.
Thank you.
Spaghetti.
Dry hopping. That's like probably the biggest one, honestly.
Yeah, that's the biggest one.
And they're dry hopped.
But you called out the other two already. Like as I'm like sipping it, I'm like,
Yeah, so it's dry hopped as well, which would be certainly not traditional for a German or Czech style Pilsner. The other thing that kind of sticks out is it oftentimes has a little bit of like a softer water profile that lends to that kind of roundness of body. And then sometimes, and this is not a hallmark of the style by any stretch of the imagination, but sometimes I have seen a lot of people putting Italian maize in it as well.
Interesting.
Which I think there are some people that feel like that's something that drives some of that high attenuation.
Nerdy brewer question is, who the fuck sells like Italian maize though? Do you know?
That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know that people are necessarily picking Italian maize.
Sure.
But I think some of the like Birrificio Italiano and those breweries that were like ones that kind of pioneered the style in a lot of ways, like Tipo Pills. Tipo is the prime example of,
and you can sometimes
what
get
people
that
are
at
modeling
Lorelei if you are in the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah,
sometimes
and you can occasionally find it other places, but like Tipo Pills is kind of the quintessential Italian pills. I don't know off the top of my head if that one has maize, but I do find that like reading articles about it. I remember I wrote an article a while ago about it, and that was one of the things that some people called out as, driving attenuation is using maize, not necessarily like heritage Italian maize or whatever, but yeah. So anyway,
cool,
nice example of it.
It's good beer.
And you guys are drinking. I was gonna say, what do you?
Yeah, we're drinking the same.
You're drinking the same beer.
Drinking the same. That's why I could take us down that extra path.
I can pull out one of my icy lights so we can just talk about icy light.
But is it mango?
No, it's not. Well, no mango's up today.
One of my buddies, we were golfing the other day. He I feel like this is such a Pittsburgh dad joke, and I never heard it before. And he was like, I feel like I'm feeling a little shaky, like my iron level's getting low. And I was like, what? And then he pulled out an Iron City out of it. That's a goddamn dad joke.
A beautiful dad
I feel like
joke.
I got a low iron level. I'm feeling a little anemic.
Yeah. That's a joke that should have died in 75.
It got a chuckle out of me. All right. So yeah, we got spookies and spicies. Look at the color. It looks straight. Don't they look like they glow in the dark?
Yeah, I wish they did. Do you have
bet they do.
Yeah, they look wild. So what we have here for our spookies is ghost dots. So for those of you who have had dots, they almost are the shape of a gumdrop, but they don't have the what Meg refers to as the sugar crust on the outside. Something about the word crust. It's like how some people with the word moist. When somebody says crust to me, I'm like, crust.
But when it has sugar in front of it, it's a totally different animal.
I know. I don't know why. And like pizza crust, of course, that's delicious.
Right.
But like something about candy and the word crust.
Yeah, anytime it's not pizza, I immediately start thinking like crust punk and just like dirty buskers.
I think of like a scab, like
too,
literally a scab.
Well,
on it.
crust punks are covered in scabs, so that's not.
Oh god,
that's true. So these are ghost dots, and the whole thing is which flavor, which ghost. So there's strawberry, lemon, lime, cherry, and orange, but they all look the same.
Oh,
they're
okay.
just kind of strange. Appear to be glow in the dark looking bluish green. It's actually, the color is extremely attractive to me. I don't know why they look very appetizing. it's the color that you would expect like mouthwash to be.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I'm very, I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if they have, what is it that's in tonic water? Quinine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if there's just a little bit of that in there, so you could like
so
blacklight them
sticky.
and blow them up.
Yeah.
I feel like they were left out for hours.
Mine's lime. Mine's very clearly lime.
Mine's. Did you say there's lemon? Because
There is lemon too. Yeah.
Mine's lemony.
I got orange.
Yeah.
So this isn't like the Mountain Dew voodoo though, where they
No,
just
it's not like guess the flavor.
Yeah.
Well, mine's orange. That was orange too.
These
are great. I love dots.
I feel like they look like
Not
the
bad.
Pac-Man ghosts in ways.
they are.
They
Pac-Man
absolutely
ghosts.
look like the Pac-Man ghosts. Yeah. They this is for me up there in terms of one of my favorite movie theater snacks. I love a dot. Love a dot. Anybody who has any reservations about getting things stuck in their teeth, not for you. Avoid dots because they're not jujubes
Right,
bad.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not like
They are
jujubes
pretty
terrible. So
Yeah.
I think they sit in that good level.
But these are fresh,
Mm-hmm.
so they're like pretty soft. But when these get old, they start to get pretty fucking sticky. But again, not jujubes literally should be outlawed. Like
Yeah.
jujubes are designed to rip your fillings out.
Yeah, that's a violent snack. It's not cool.
It's a violent.
Whoever made
not
jujubes woke up, and chose violent.
Like fuck people's teeth is what they said.
They are violent snacks.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was somebody who had like gums and like the really like solid gums from chewing steak.
Yeah.
And that's the candy they made because they wanted everybody
This
to
is
be
just
like
the
them.
substitute. Yeah.
It's a super villain thing.
Can I completely do a non sequitur here? Because I just was listening to it earlier this week, our episode from last week on Trick or Treat, or
Yeah.
costumes, Trick or Treat, and stuff like that. We were in the car, and Kate and I were listening to it, and I laughed out loud, both of us, at this joke. You can't really even make it out, but it was one of Steve's jokes, and I said something about how Google says something mean to me, and Steve goes, sounds like you got rude goal.
Yes. I enjoy hiding little things to see if
But
anybody
he
will
said
get
it
them.
so quietly, and at the moment I heard it and laughed, like got a big pop from me. But in hearing it the second time, I was crying. It was such a stupid joke, and I loved it. Go back and listen and appreciate that joke.
I may have already hidden some in this episode that you didn't hear.
I literally was crying in the car. I don't know why. It just nailed me. It just hit me. Anyway, so that's our spookies. Our spices is an old standby. It's Flamin' Hot Cheetos, but it's the puffy Cheetos, not the crunchy Cheetos. And this was part of the, as you can see, the bag of bones tin that everybody. I bought it for the tin, right? Because
Yeah.
it's going to be my waste paper basket in my
Nice.
office. It's got Chester Cheeto on it. He's spooky. He's got a Dracula cape on, and that's all there's for me. It literally could be filled with sawdust. I still would have paid $5.99 or whatever the fuck for it. But it had one bag of the. So it looks like one of the old Pop-Torn tins that you would get for Christmas that has like regular and caramel and cheese popcorn in it. But this just had two bags in it, and it was the Flamin' Hot as well as the white cheddar. And the one that's the best is like the rib cage.
Oh, those
It's
are
a
like
full ass rib cage.
You've already narrowed down the best piece.
Yeah, because I already opened these and ate several of them last night. But the fucking rib cage is so sweet. Now, Meg, you're the question mark with these, right?
I've literally never had a Flamin' Hot Cheeto in any form.
All right, this is a coming of age tale. So Flamin' Hot
I'm going for the
anything,
rib.
I would say like there are two camps of people. There are two types of people in the world. There's people who are loyalists to the Flaming Hot, and there are people who have adopted the Taki.
Okay.
And a lot of people are like, no, fuck it, I'm all Taki all the time now. If given the option, I don't know. This doesn't have all the citric acid that a Taki has. Like Taki spice is basically Flamin' Hot Cheeto, maybe a tiny bit hotter, maybe not. I don't know.
Okay.
The Taki dust compared to the Flamin' Hot Cheeto dust, but the Taki dust also has an insane amount of citric acid, so it's sour too, which I like. But I think I'm a loyalist to the Flamin' Hots.
All right. Let's give this a go.
I think I'm with you on being like I like Takis,
Me too.
but just as far as like that citric acid, I don't love the sourness.
It gets to be too much after a while, because the Flamin' Hot has a little bit of it.
A little bit.
Like a little bit of tartness, but nothing like the citric acid smack of a Taki.
Like
So
even
I
given
don't
the
feel
choice,
like they're as bad as like I think, and like to touch on that, I don't know how I'll feel. Like I really do love like spicy and citrus. It's like I want my mouth to be assaulted with like a tang. Like I actually just picked up last week and housed the bag of just like Lay's, but like the lemon.
Oh
like,
yeah.
And those were
The chili lime ones.
tight. Yeah, it's like it's kind of like eating salt and vinegar, but like lime.
Yeah.
And so I think like I just have like an affinity for that sensation on my mouth. These are actually, they're not too bad. I don't know how many I can eat of them.
Yeah, they definitely
but like
build
I
on
can
you.
handle it. I actually do want more.
Yeah, they're not any like because I ate a whole mess of those ghost pepper almonds that we had one episode. The one night I was watching a movie and I ate like half the thing of them, and it got to a point where my ears were ringing after a while. Like the heat really built on those. These don't get anywhere near that, but they do build on you a little bit. But Meg has had 0 episodes. You're poised. You're good to go. Usually we're looking at you to see if you are going to have an episode. Like you're going to do
about to spaz.
Yeah, you're going to do
I'm
something.
okay.
Your eyes going to start twitching.
I'm a little hesitant to like reach back in the bag because I did. I'm learning, guys.
I do like you're very like you get very loosey goosey though after you have one. Like the adrenaline starts going, you start to get kind of loosey goosey.
I just get a little buzzed.
You
off
can't
the
see her right
heat.
now, but she's kind of flowing. Like hands are moving. She's doing kind of a robot. She's doing the Michael Jackson head side to side thing. She's she gets more animated when
Very
she has
much
spicy.
I have to edit out all the shamons.
But she definitely gets very physically animated when she eats spicy things.
I definitely learned my lesson in that you have to even out the heat. Like I can't just have one and have it assault half my mouth. I need to assault all of my mouth
Right.
in these situations. So I just did good. I was like, I think I'm gonna go back to the dots.
Yeah. You
have one, have another, chew on both sides, have a dot, have
I'm
a
not
beer, go
offended
back.
right now by how my mouth feels.
Yeah.
I think we're okay.
Listen,
Right on.
easy peasy. We're off and rolling, guys. No one's
guys,
feeling attacked.
Do better.
Oh, you're gonna fuck around now. Okay.
Don't
All right.
do
You're
that.
gonna fuck around because I got some sauces down the fridge that'll make you throw yourself out the window.
Yeah, I feel like if you guys really want to see me in pain or just like we should just start eating different hot sauces.
Oh yeah.
I got a bottle of Mike's Hot Honey coming in. It's not so crazy.
Yeah.
But I just got reminded of sweet and spicy.
Oh yeah, I have some hot honey downstairs as well. I love that.
We can just like start making up like getting plain snacks and just like making
Dipping.
them spooky.
We've had a couple times. So I was mentioning our friend Jack. He has a bunch of the hot sauce from the Hedonist. You know, they do like the what's their show? It's a big YouTube show, Hot Ones, and had like the Last Dab and stuff like that. And we had some of those at his house, and those are ones that like you get this fear, fight, or flight instinct that kicks in when you eat it. And your hair starts like turning colors. It's intense. Listen, you want to go down that path? We'll go down that path.
Quite frankly, I'm with their setup. They keep in their lineup to bomb.
Yeah,
because it is literally the one that gets every single person. Like
it's also
this is
disgusting.
Just not.
If you've ever tried it, it's a
good.
bad sauce. It's made poorly, and they should feel bad.
It's
about
nothing but
making
capsaicin.
Yeah,
and it's just crap.
It tastes like battery acid.
Yeah,
it is genuinely a bad sauce. And listen, it tastes bad. Don't buy it.
It's not for you. It's for torture.
Yeah. Don't buy Da Bomb.
Yeah, it's a bad sauce. You're not gonna like it.
Like I've had like the Last Dab XXX, which is one of the newer ones they put out.
Yeah,
and it's like flavorful.
Yeah,
like,
it has a great flavor. The Redux one that I had too was the same way. Like it actually had like almost a vaguely curry inspired type of flavor to it, which I really dug. These sauces, it takes a lot to make a super hot sauce also taste good that you want to go back to.
Yeah, right. I was going to make a point to say that because I feel like not being a hot sauce connoisseur at all, when people try hot sauces that I like I'm familiar with, they're like, but it was like the flavor still was there. And shout out to one of my really good friends here in the city, Allegheny City Farms. He makes like a Pittsburgh style hot sauce.
Okay.
Both like regular and also a fermented version.
What makes it a Pittsburgh? I'm curious.
I don't know.
I think it's just made in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. I didn't know if there was
there's not that many
French
like
fries in it
hot sauce companies that also grow their own peppers and make their own sauce. So he does both.
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing for him.
Yeah, he grows it. He grows his stuff and then brews it up. And then like there's an Uncle Jammy's sauces. He doesn't grow his own, but like he puts together some sauces. He has one. You can find it in Giant Eagle even. It's called "Your Arrogance Amuses Me."
I kind of like that name a lot.
He makes it with Arrogant Bastard beer.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
And then it has like this habanero in it, and just the way he has it put together, it creeps on you so bad.
I love anything
You'd
habanero.
love it.
I genuinely love the flavor of habanero. Not like I'm not eating habanero peppers, but like habanero sauces. Because I was just like one of my favorite things. I put it on everything. Is Yellowbird habanero.
Yeah.
It's just called. It's not even. It's called Yellowbird habanero condiment.
Okay.
It's a habanero. I don't know why they call it.
Is it a jam or like
no?
mustard?
It's a sauce. It's a straight up sauce.
Okay.
But that's what it's called, and it's just killer, and it's got intense heat. Not like I'm gonna die, but like enough you can put it on something and you're not gonna like lose your mind. But it is aggressively hot, but it has a really great habanero character. It's really fruity.
You know what? That's what we'll do next week. I'm going to bring over Uncle Jammy's. Your Arrogance Amuses Me.
There you go. For the October episode.
You pushed buttons, Meg, and now we're dipping hot sauces.
Find out. Fuck around and find out.
Play games. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That's what next episode.
Well, no, Brian and I are winning nice prizes. Meg plays stupid prizes.
she has one Cheeto bag of bones and is like, "Fuck y'all, bring it,
bring it."
So arrogant.
Bring it.
I think I'm exposing a lot about my personality right now.
Well, we're about to expose some real deal shit right now because we are about to decide what movie we have to defend for the October episode. We were talking about how this is like the WrestleMania of the podcast. I think it's actually more of the Rumble. It's more like the Royal Rumble.
A little bit.
Because you draw a number and it heavily depends on when you enter the Rumble.
Yeah.
Right? Not everyone's going to be a Ric Flair coming in third or whatever and then winning the whole thing. Right? This is going to be, listen, if you draw Ghosts of Mars, you don't got much of a chance.
You don't got much of a chance.
Unless they, well, anyway, listen, I don't want to
These will be
jinx
factors
myself.
I think that should be taken into consideration. Yeah. Like, if you get a shitty movie, but you do an amazing job defending it, fuck yeah. Take away that foul motherfucker.
There's strategy all around. There's also strategy as to who spins the wheel first.
Yeah.
Because if you spin the wheel first, everything's on board.
Yeah.
But that means good and bad.
That's true.
If somebody goes and they get Halloween on first spin,
are we gonna rock, paper, scissors? Who goes first?
Well, I should probably explain first what we're doing for new listeners, because so normally what we do is we pick a topic, a subgenre, a whatever, and then we each pick a movie that we want to defend. All three of us watch all three movies, then we defend it, then we attack each other, we defend we defer, we deflect the attacks, and then we ultimately vote on who should reign supreme. It usually goes to second votes, as you might imagine, and then somebody takes home the belt for the month. With October, we're going to do a little different. We had people pick from 3 different Halloween-centric topics, and the one that won commandingly was our favorite John Carpenter films. So these are all films, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, these are all directed by John Carpenter. We picked we didn't pick ones that just have absolutely nothing to do with like horror.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we didn't put in Escape from New York.
Yeah, no escapes, no Big Trouble, even though we love it.
But. Yeah, we love Big Trouble. And honestly, there's no way we're not going to get to that movie at some point in the podcast. But like, so we picked ones that are more, horror centric, obviously, that he directed. We threw in like a Halloween 2 because he has obviously a writing credit on that, not just a character writing credit. So, but we have a whole mess of movies that we're going to throw in there, and we're going to spin it. And whoever gets assigned that movie, you have to defend that movie.
Yeah.
So we might have Halloween, The Thing, and Ghost of Mars. So the person who gets Ghost of Mars is going to have a tall order here. So we're a little bit at the mercy of the wheel. But yeah, what do you want to do? Do you want to do a 3-way rock paper scissors? And
as champion,
you're gonna play that card.
I think I should get to pick where I go.
I don't disagree with that.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a good call.
That feels fair.
Because I feel like this is something we're going to repeat next year as well.
Sure.
I think
and
I'd
also
like this format.
It fully doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
Because
we'll
it's just you're at the whim of the
scissors
chance.
after that to choose who goes.
Yes,
okay.
no, I can appreciate that.
So I will actually spin the wheel first.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to go full count of everything that's available.
The anticipation's killing me.
Because Halloween and The Thing are on here. Halloween 2's on here. Prince of Darkness, they live.
I know that's
they're
what
all
Steve
there.
was.
So I just want to give myself full opportunity and hope to God I don't get
here's the
We
click.
hear the
We hear the
click.
clicky
Got
clack.
it.
We hear the clicky
This
clack.
feels like Price is Right shit.
His face
Oh,
is not
God.
good. His face, The Ward,
I
which,
don't know what this is,
which
so
is
I'm
the movie
excited.
that none of us have seen.
Oh God.
That
I
is
have made a
honestly,
note of
it's
this.
not Ghost of Mars, but it's bad. That was that. I listen. I'm not rubbing it in, but that tactic backfired in a huge
Your
way.
face says a lot right now, Steve.
But I'm excited because I've never seen The Ward.
I've never seen it either, so that's the thing.
It might be fucking fantastic.
I might be able to defend it in some way.
Yeah.
It's also up to what you guys get.
That's true.
Yeah.
If we go Ghost of Mars in the fog,
Yeah.
I have a fighter's chance
No,
again.
fuck, the fog is gonna blow. The fog is fantastic.
We'll see how it
Yeah, I
compares
don't know.
against
I've
the
never
Ward,
seen
so.
The Word. I know nothing
All right.
about it, but that's
So
an
you
interesting
guys
one.
can rock paper scissors if you
Yeah,
want.
let's rock paper
Okay.
scissors.
Who goes
So we go
next?
1, 2, 3, shoot. Okay.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, shoot. And I won
Fuck you.
scissors over paper. Also, guys, I didn't say this. My kids know this. I only play scissors. I have never not played scissors since I was like 10 years old. So
Man.
for future reference, I only play scissors. In any
He's
case,
gonna not do that. I'm not gonna listen to you
I am
anymore.
going to let Meg. That's the trick. I tell them I only play scissors, but I actually do only play scissors. Or do I?
Oh, do it.
Anyway, Meg is going to go next. I'll say
Okay.
Meg goes next. I'll hold up. I'll bring
All
up the
right.
rear.
Spin it.
Let me remove the
I'm
ward.
doing the
No,
movement.
I actually would prefer both of you to have board.
No.
I'm
I'm
actually
actually really excited. I've never saw
Let's
the
go.
award. All right, and the spin is happening.
We
Here
gotta
it
have
is,
everyone clapping for me.
guys. It
God, I'm
is going
terrified
to
right now.
land
Ooh.
on what is it?
Village of the Damned.
That's
Okay.
a good fucking movie. That's not. It's
Maybe.
not. It's not his strongest movie by
Yeah.
any stretch of the imagination. But I like Village of the Damned.
Neither of you guys cringed at it, so
No, I like
I'm
Village
going
of the
for it.
Damned.
It's
Okay.
been a while since I've seen it, but it might
Okay.
have some problems if I go back and watch it now as an adult.
That's right. It's. I remember it being
I
fun.
feel like this is gonna be a vicious one. I'm excited.
It
Village-
could be because we're
Yeah, we are not getting. Okay, here's my roll.
Brian's underway.
Here we go.
vampires.
Halloween,
He's
Halloween,
gonna
Halloween,
go-
Halloween.
I'm so upset.
Ghosts of Mars.
Motherfucker. What is happening? We did John Carpenter movies and we got The Ward, Ghosts of Mars, and Village of the Damned.
Now, here's the thing for
Yeah.
the audience.
Yeah.
That means at later times we can still do Halloween and the thing and all that.
That's
I'm actually
true.
pretty happy that none of those got selected, but at the same
Jesus
time, I just
that
feel like
could not have went worse for me.
everything leading up to this was like, I don't want Ghost of Mars, and who got it?
And literally, I said to Steve before we start, I've already reserved myself to know I'm gonna get Ghosts of Mars. It was in my head. I'm gonna get
Aw.
Ghosts of Mars.
You know, you put that energy out there, bud.
I did. I put it out there in the universe.
Shouldn't have said it out loud.
John Carpenter films, those three beloved John Carpenter films that everyone knows and everyone watches every Halloween. Village of the Damned, The Ward, and of course, Ghosts of Mars.
So Meg and I, we'll be competing for the belt,
Jesus
and
Christ.
Brian will basically decide.
I will be pushing a boulder up a mountain.
Yeah. Brian will decide basically because
You know what? I think he's the best person to get that movie,
Well, yeah.
to possibly defend
But also,
it.
Meg,
I'm
you've
gonna
kind
not
of
even vote for my own
yeah,
movie.
exactly. Meg has complained in the past of how we haven't been voting for another movie with our
Yeah.
first vote.
Ghost
I really
of-
think this is the first time Brian
Ghost
is going
of
to put
Mars
his vote
is
towards one of us.
Fully
Yeah.
poop. I'm gonna try my hardest, but
You
Ghost
try.
of Mars is fully poop. So
All poop all
Yeah.
the time.
So my Halloween is ruined. My spooky season is ruined.
Oh no, you still get Halloween kills. You're
That's
fine.
true. That's true. All right. So that went just absolutely terribly for me. In any case, let's jump into what we're actually going to talk about this week. Our main topic for this mini-sode, which was Mike Flanagan's, and this just came out just on Friday, this very past Friday, and it is called Midnight Mass, a Netflix series, horror series, 7 episodes, right?
Yep.
So we all got to watch, because it just came out on Friday, right? Just came out the day before yesterday. So we've all watched various amounts of it. So I will say right off the bat, there are going to be spoilers abound. So if you're anticipating watching this, or if you're in the middle of watching it, or whatever, fair warning right now, we are going to spoil the hell out of this. And I think it's actually going to be really fun because so Steve watched the whole thing, all 7 episodes. I watched 5 episodes. Meg watched 3 or 4. 3 episodes. So we all know various amount of things. So we're all going to be able to deliver various amounts of spoilers, I guess, except for Meg. Steve and I will be able to deliver, but Meg is going to be on the receiving end of those spoilers.
I'm excited, at least to hear.
And we all had, I don't know, we haven't talked too much about it. We were saving it, obviously, for the show, but we haven't talked too much about the episode overall. But Mike Flanagan, if you don't know, I actually did one of his in our modern slasher last month's episode. Hush.
I was gonna say,
yeah, that was a Mike Flanagan movie. Certainly, people know who watch a lot of Netflix know him from Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor. He did Gerald's Game. He did Dr. Sleep. And what else? There's like another big one. I feel like
I think that's it.
That's
aside
like the
from
big
Hush,
one.
but
Hush,
then the next thing he has coming up is called The Midnight Club, which is another series.
Yeah,
which seems like adult. Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
He is a huge. If you know anything about Mike Flanagan, he's a huge Stephen King guy,
and it's
heavily
very
influenced by Stephen King. I mean,
very
this
apparent
movie
on this show.
feels like West Coast Castle Rock in a lot of ways. So a little bit about the show and chime in, guys, because I'm not reading this from anywhere, but it is basically a kind of horror drama miniseries type of thing that's set in a very small island fishing town off the coast of somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, was what I take. Called Crockett Island. And literally, at one point there were, this was a thriving fishing island. Now there's only, a few dozen,
it's like a population of
127
is what it says in the opening.
Just a few dozen families left there in this kind of struggling fishing town. And it starts out, it kind of follows this guy, and I don't know why I didn't look up the names here. Riley, right? Is the main actor. The protagonist that starts off the movie. And he is, you come to find out, a kind of tech startup type of, entrepreneur, whatever kind of guy in Chicago. He's on the side of the road. He has killed somebody in a drunk driving accident. He was the drunk driver. He's killed a young woman. He goes to jail, spends 4 years there, and you see that little bit at the beginning.
Just a pause, that, like the first comment that like really struck me, that I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna be like what this is gonna be about, or setting the tone. But like when he's sitting there and he's starting to pray, because you notice there's a lot of like religious like shit going on.
I did notice.
But when he did that cop interrupted. Was like, maybe while you're at it, ask him why he always takes the kids and the drunk fucks walk away with scratches. I was like,
cut him to his core.
Shit.
Yeah.
If this is how it's starting, and then not to mention that
I feel like
very,
very heavy.
It had like the other like Haunting of Hill House and like Bly Manor type esque things with him seeing the ghost of her.
There's a bit of a grief porn angle to this whole thing, which is obviously Haunted of Hill House.
Ghosts.
Yeah. And he sees every night before he goes to bed, you see him in jail. And then really the movie starts out after this, first, 5 or 10 minutes. It's him coming out of jail and returning to this island to live with his parents and his younger brother and kind of re-assimilate to Crockett Island after going to Chicago, going to the, young man going to the big city. I'm too good for this. He leaves, obviously fucks his life up horribly with the drunk driving incidents. And then he comes back and he's obviously like humbled, kind of a broken person in a lot of ways. But every night before he goes to bed, he sees this image of the young woman that he killed in the accident with like glass in her head. She had like a massive head wound, that sort of thing. So you get this idea it's going to be, this kind of ghost story haunting type of thing. And that's not the case at all. Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I guess we're not going to do a plot synopsis or anything like that, but it's broken up into 7 episodes. So thoughts on the first one. It really just kind of set the stage, right?
Yeah.
There wasn't anything monumentous that happened. They do the Netflix series thing, which is to say, and also each episode is named after a book of the Bible. So super, super heavy religious themes throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
And the first one is, of course, called Genesis. You get to know Kate Siegel, who is his you know, they were
Youth love.
friends, and they definitely had a relationship as youths, and you know, trust each other and all this stuff. And then she kind of ran off to pursue her dreams in Hollywood or something. She ended up in Texas.
She went around.
Yeah.
And now they both find their way back to.
I really feel like the first episode kind of set up a lot of like the background of everyone, but I also feel like it left enough that you're like want to keep listening, because like you start getting to know Kate Siegel's like character, and you're kind of like, oh, she seems very interesting, and you kind of get invested in this like Riley her dynamic and whatnot. But also finding out she's pregnant, you're like, seems like she has a lot of background that they're not trying to reveal, and you guys might know more about it now, having watched more than I have.
I'll tell you, 5 episodes in, you hear about her childhood. She had an abusive, alcoholic mother. But you really don't hear too much. You do hear that she was married to a guy who was essentially, she married someone very much like her mother, who was abusive and you know, a really toxic relationship that she eventually left when she got pregnant. Okay. So that's really all you learn. I don't know if you learn anything more after that.
No?
Not terribly, no.
That's
like,
kind of, I kind of feel like, why would they talk about it if like,
it's
well, the pregnancy is definitely a big thing that continues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll get into that.
Cool.
But the things evolve in a very strange way with the pregnancy.
Okay.
Right. And like basically the end is her just actualizing herself.
Okay.
So
interesting. Yeah, she's the character you definitely care about the most.
One of them, yeah.
In my mind. And then Riley's mother. I mean, you definitely develop a relationship, you know, with Riley, and you root for him to a certain extent, the redemption story, and he's got like all this intense guilt and self-loathing type of thing that he's dealing with. In any case, the first thing that the main things I took from the first episode, I thought overall beautifully shot.
Yeah.
I think it's a great looking film. I think some of the ways that they really captured this, Castle Rock-esque type of
you keep saying Castle Rock, but I want to say it's West Coast Salem's Lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, especially once we get into the themes that we're coming up to, which is, spoiler alert, it's a vampire story.
Yeah.
You didn't get that? Oh, yeah.
No, wow,
yeah.
okay.
So,
oh, really? You didn't get that by 3?
No,
I'm trying to see. I watched them back. I watched the first 5 straight through, so I don't know when things are hitting.
Yeah. The only thing I was going to add about to like any sort of shot or like how they did things was like when I got to it was the second episode. You have all the dead cats on the beach.
Yeah,
but like I don't know, they did a good job like with whatever, like
it's pretty it's pretty like, mysterious because like the first episode you have this weird trunk and the priest knocks on the trunk and it answers back
with a knock. So
there's something in there, and then you see a bunch of like scary eyes in the night and like shadows moving in the night from there. And I guess it's probably 4 that they really reveal that we're talking vampires.
Okay.
There's a Dracula in the town.
I'm kind of cool. I'm kind of into that. I actually almost feel like knowing that now, like a lot of the things feel perfect for it. I feel like with the religious connotations they have a lot, or like the themes throughout the whole thing.
Oh yeah, and it gets
like the vibe of the whole town.
It gets into the weeds with the religious stuff for sure. So you
don't get a lot of good vampire. You don't get a lot of vampire things now besides like Twilight.
Not really. That's kind of like that was.
I feel like mid 2010s there was a bunch of shit that kind of hit around that time vampire wise. But I feel like vampires have gone the way of a zombie film a little bit, where they've kind of like we've done a lot. Let's like move on a little bit from that sort of thing. But but I mean, there's still movies that like people like Near Dark and stuff like that. Their experience, I feel like, are like experiencing this huge like resurgence in popularity.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And it's interesting throughout. I don't believe they say the word vampire once in the entire show.
You just like no. You just like
I didn't know that. There's like one scene where like later on in the show where they're discussing what's going on, and they kind of break into the conversation halfway, so that they would have already skipped. Yeah, and they just say the words like myth.
I'm reaching now for a spoiler because like in the 3rd episode, this is where we have the priest like leading up to this point. He like is starting to like show signs where he's like vomiting blood and shit like that. What is the deal there?
Yeah,
because I'm assuming he's the familiar.
No,
if we're talking about vampires.
So I kind of thought that at first. So a little bit of backstory. There is a guy they just call Monsignor
Pruitt.
Monsignor Pruitt, who was kind of the clergyman for decades and decades and decades, like half a century on this particular island. He obviously had a deep relationship with all the families on the island of this, because there is one Catholic church on the island, and that's it. And everyone's Catholic with the exception of the brand new sheriff and his son, who have moved there after they lost his wife / his son's mother, obviously, and she died of cancer, they talk about, and they are Muslim, and there's a lot of tension there because there's some like pretty judgy, fucked up, weird people on this island, and they are very much in a foreign, they're meeting all these people for the first time and stuff. Otherwise, pretty much everyone on the island is Catholic, goes to the same, like St. Patrick's Catholic Church, it's called. In any case, you learn early on that Monsignor, he has apparently fell ill, and a new priest comes onto the island to take his place for a period of time. Riley, during a big storm, sees who he believes to be Monsignor out on the beach walking around, because he wears this very distinct jacket and hat. This new guy on the scene, he's a little bit mysterious. He earns people's trust right off the bat, and not too far in, did you get to the point where he starts doing miracles? Where he has the woman, the young girl who was shot in the spine accidentally by like the town drunk. He gets her to walk, and he starts doing other things like that, and people start literally getting younger. Like the town doctor, she has her mother, who is suffering from dementia, Alzheimer's, something like that. She literally starts reverse aging to the point where she looks younger than her daughter.
I didn't get to that point. So, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
so at this point, you're talking about there's a bunch of dead cats all over the island, all over the beach that wash up, and they give you a little bit of information earlier, and that anything that gets, kind of like thrown in the water during a storm washes up on the west side of the island.
Right.
So there's all these stray cats all over the island. They all wash up on that side of the island, and you kind of start to learn that something is feeding on these cats, right? There's no blood in them, and you're like, what is that thing that drinks blood? You know what I mean? So you're like, okay, something's going on here. Anyway, so as you kind of, this one was like, it was very much a setup episode. It was kind of, they tried to do that like, slow burn, reel you in at the end of the first episode, so you watch the second.
Right.
But I thought it was a little bit underwhelming, the reveal.
You definitely have seen better.
But you get into the second one, and you start to see like the mayor is acting a little bit suspicious. You start to learn about this character named Bev, and Bev, who the person who plays Bev, the actress, and her name is escaping me right now. She does a great job, because fuck, do you hate Bev?
She is, if you remember The Mist.
Okay.
She's basically playing that one super religious lady that was in the grogrocery store.
That's
from
riling
The Mist.
everybody up.
Yeah.
She's playing very much that type of character. Yeah, she is preying on people's fears. She's trying to remain very, very pious and all these things, but she is ego and driven through and through.
And just to jump like all the way through the series, it is really hard to not draw kind of MAGA correlations.
Yes.
And just like by the end, it's a satisfying end. I'm not going to give it full away, but like it's a satisfying end, and you can't ignore like the correlation between like the MAGA.
There is a lot of...
She just ignores a lot of the time, like especially when the one part where they're in the school and talking about after all these miracles are happening and they're giving out Bibles and shit like that, where like the sheriff is like, hey, like this is not fun. You need to understand. And she starts judging the Quran and be like, go fuck yourself.
She ignores, she reappropriates Christianity to fit her.
That's
narrative.
Like honestly a central theme of the whole thing is like using religion to justify your shitty decisions and beliefs and behavior and that sort of thing. But some of the great scenes, so at this point, like you're really 2 episodes in and you've seen so few creepy things. You're like, Kate was like, my wife Kate, she was like, this isn't horror. Like, what
where's the monsters?
But then, like, there's some stuff that'll come out of nowhere, and they have really lured you into a sense of kind of like comfort, and it's very melodramatic. There's a ton of like these very drawn out monologues between characters, and just talking at each other for 5-minute chunks and things like that. And then all of a sudden, like with the priest outside the window,
Right.
That scene, I was so fucking good. It literally made me jump. And I'm usually not super susceptible to jump scares because I've seen so many fucking movies. But this one, it's the sheriff and his son, and they're in there and they're just having this very heartfelt conversation about his late wife and late mother and all this stuff. And all of a sudden he looks over and there's just this creepy fucking...
almost Pazuzu face.
Yeah, staring through the window. And it made me jump. And it reminded me, because one of the scenes that fucked my life as a kid was the and we might have talked about this already, was the floating boy outside the window in Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
That scene, I for years pictured that every time I walked up the stairs to my bedroom. Like
Oh.
it really
That'd be
like
pretty
stuck
fucked
in my
up. Yeah, I
brain
can see that.
for a long time. And I love that scene. It's so effective to me. And it reminded me of that. So I love that one.
That is one of the things, though, like talking about how like slow it is to get going. They lean on Riley's ghost girl to fill in a lot of those jump scares when she doesn't really bear, anything on what's actually happening.
She really doesn't.
It's just kind of a fill in, and it's like it didn't need all that.
I do like the little like cello strike,
Right? Yeah.
when they do that. Like I thought the sound design overall was strong. At the end of 2, I was like, you knew the poor weed dealer was gonna get it.
Yeah.
Like they made him disposable. Like he was gonna be one of the first people to disappear, and you were gonna see at the. Is it in 2 or 3 where you start to one of them you start to get the backstory, which is the priest.
That might even be 4 because
It might be 4.
Meg
It might
wasn't
be
to the
4.
part
Right. Yeah.
where it's obviously vampires.
Yeah. So ultimately, what you come to think, and it goes from 0 to 60 a little bit, which I dig. I like when they are like, oh, this is just this big melodramatic movie, and all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, no fucking giant winged vampires. I like it. So at some point, so around 3 or 4, somewhere around there, you learn that they had sent, and they'd already talked about this. They had sent the priest, the old priest, to. They had kind of taken a collection up in the town to send him to the Holy Land because he was in his 80s. He never, wanted to walk in the steps of Jesus and all that stuff, right? So they sent him over there. He gets very disoriented. He's suffering from some degree of dementia or Alzheimer's as well. He ends up wandering away from his group into the desert and getting stuck in a sandstorm, and then find shelter in a underground cave that was blown open by all the sand being displaced during this giant storm.
It was even less of a cave and more of like an actual structure.
It was like a mausoleum almost.
Something they obviously buried a vampire a long time ago to keep it hidden.
Yes. And they go in there and you see the eyes, who are very reminiscent of the cat's eyes that they see on the island.
Okay.
And he comes out and he is a full-on giant winged vampire.
Well.
Yeah, so
surprise,
who
surprise.
dives on his ass, sucks his blood, turns him into a vampire.
Sure.
He wakes up the next day and he is a young man. He is the priest who has come to the island. So you learn that the priest is the old priest. He is just reverse aged because he's a vampire.
That doesn't have we seen any? I don't know if I'm trying to think. I just don't have that where like when you see a Fountain of Youth-esque thing with the vampire situation.
Yeah,
that seems new.
No, that's a pretty common
I think that's
thing.
happened in the
Yeah?
past.
There's a lot of
I
like
always thought it was just
vampire.
like freezing type where you
No,
are.
because even in like, I could think of a few movies and even series. I mean, even like True Blood. A vampire blood was like a for mortals was a healing thing, and they would actually like, and even in Blade they kind of did that too. Like vampire blood is to mortals not even necessarily always a fountain of youth, but it absolutely has like healing properties and things like that.
Yeah,
and that's what like they get more into the quote science of it, but. So what's happening through the town, the reason why everybody's de-aging and their wounds are healing and everything is because the priest is hiding the vampire's blood in the sacrament.
As soon as you're about to say that, I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So when people ingest it that gets into their system, and then the further science is it's kind of like a virus in that or a poison, so it like hasn't completely taken their body over, which is why they're not vampires, but they're still healing.
Yeah.
And that's also, and I don't know in the last couple episodes they get into this, but one of the things about vampire movies, and I've seen however many fucking vampire movies I've seen, the one thing about vampire mythology is there is a lot of ambiguity around the mechanics of changing somebody. Like even in like Interview with a Vampire, it's like you do a certain thing because you could just kill somebody, drain them, they're dead.
Right.
They're a victim. They don't become a vampire. But there are certain things, extra steps you take to make them a vampire. And I feel like in every series movie, there's subtle differences.
So the way this one works is if you've taken any vampire blood in because it heals you, if you die with vampire blood in your system, the vampire blood kicks into overdrive and will resurrect you as a vampire.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
what is going on? Sorry, like what is going on with the priest then? Because like literally, I see him like coughing up blood and all of that shit.
He poisons himself to die and then come back.
Yeah. He wants to appear to be a giver of miracles.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That all makes sense.
So he poisons himself. He dies essentially in front of a group, which is Bev, the mayor, and the mayor's wife, and
the ferry captain.
Yeah. Well, is he a ferry captain or is he just like a handyman around the island?
I think he also is the guy who drives the ferry.
But
he's like a local dude.
Yeah, he's just a local dude. He's not very bright.
No,
he's been there his
Isn't
whole
it
life.
like Clam or something? What's his name?
Sturge.
Yeah. Clam Sturge.
Exactly.
If he is also the Monsignor, why is?
Well, give me these ghost dots. Sorry.
Why is he? You remember how Bev called him out for wearing the wrong robe in the first?
So yeah, they come back to that, and yeah, it's a completely throwaway thing. But...
Sure, I just am like thinking about all like the holes that could exist.
Right. Yeah,
well, he has his whole own agenda of what he's doing, and he believes that the vampire is not a vampire but an angel.
Oh,
and has given them the gift of life and immortality. And he has been chosen to do this, and now that vampire is a divine entity and a messenger.
This makes
of
sense
God.
of like, and it's like still kind of like using it, but also manipulating the idea of like how religion can be perceived and stuff like that.
And that's how it also ties into that kind of MAGA QAnon parallel, and that he's taking something that's obviously evil.
Yeah.
Like obviously destructive.
You have to be an idiot to realize otherwise. Yeah.
But then repurposing it to this like new, he even says it's a new morality. It's a new covenant.
Sure.
With God. And so it's completely, he's made a decision upon religion.
Right.
He's giving everyone licensed to create their own sense of morality, essentially.
Yeah,
right.
And be vampires.
Yeah. And be vampires.
And be vampires.
So yeah, Bev is the mouthpiece for this in a lot of ways. And like the scene, even with them in the schoolhouse, you know what I mean? Like her kind of weaponizing the scripture and all this stuff, like it absolutely hits a little close to home.
Yeah.
For sure. Father Paul creeping outside that chair. Yeah, I talked about that. That was such a great jump scare. It was really, for me, like a super memorable part of this.
Yeah. Something I wanted to jump to, because again, we talked about how when we did the slasher film, like Flanagan is really good at making good structured films and good like shot choices.
Oh yeah.
They're not always exciting, but they're definitely good at storytelling. And so like there's two scenes I kind of wanted to point out that are like episode 2 and 3, I believe. But we have the protagonist Riley, who now has to go to AA meetings. So he starts going to AA meetings with Father Paul.
Right.
And obviously there you can see the tie between being an alcoholic and being a vampire.
Yeah.
Which that reveals itself.
Yeah.
But that first meeting they have, I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but like when they film it, Riley is very standoffish. And he's, against, doing this with Father Paul, because Riley is also an atheist.
Yes.
Right.
So he's not interested.
He did not find God in prison. In fact, the complete opposite.
He lost God.
Yeah.
But the way they film it is you have Riley on one side of the screen, and there's a huge open space to his side.
Yeah.
And then Father Paul is on the other side of the screen. There's huge open space on his side of the screen. And there's just no connection between either of them. And it's like, that's film school 101.
Yeah.
But then when you see him with Aaron later, it's super close, super tight. And
That's a good point.
yeah.
Like that.
So
yeah,
it's
you
like,
can see the disconnect. You can see there is no bridge between these two people.
you may not have noticed, but your brain did.
Yeah. Really great. Overall, like all these films are always, Mike Flanagan films are really, the cinematography, the sound design, all these things are like just tight in my opinion. But it was like, yeah, at the end of 3 is where shit starts to hit the fan. And this is where my note goes to. It's just all like, I hate Bev so much.
Yep.
These religious people are making me very uncomfortable. What's going on with the poison? And then all of a sudden, finally some fucking vampire shit. And then in all caps, we in vampire church now, you fucking bitches. That's what I got on my thing, 'cause I was just like, now we're hitting the fucking ground running. And getting in, so kind of getting into book 4. So what you and Kate called this when we were watching it, and I haven't gotten a full explanation yet, and maybe it comes and maybe it doesn't. Kate Siegel's character, what's her name again? My goodness. Erin. Erin is pregnant.
Yeah.
Right? She is going to the doctor. She has seen an ultrasound. They have shown her, you can see she is fairly far along in her pregnancy. Right. She goes back after she has now kind of unknowingly ingested the vampire blood. The baby she did not miscarry. The baby is just not there.
Right.
So literally to the point where the doctor, who has been taking care of her for quite a while now, is like panicking a little bit. And there's this very tense, very emotional scene where she's like, there is no baby. The baby is no longer, there's nothing in your uterus kind of thing.
Holy
and
shit.
She's like, and the doctor is baffled, of course, and is kind of suggesting that perhaps Erin has miscarried and had blocked that out,
right?
So, because you know what I mean. So she doesn't have any other explanation,
right?
Sends her to a mainland doctor who tells her that she was never pregnant. Her body, all her blood tests and everything is saying she's never pregnant. She's like, no, I saw the ultrasound. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like this.
So you come to realize, and this is what Kate said. Kate was like, that baby is gonna Benjamin Button itself out of existence. And she called it. I was like, oh, okay, maybe.
That's what
is that what you come to realize happened?
It's sort of, but not really. It's more of because Erin has the vampire blood in her body, it identifies the fetus as a parasite.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And so it does reabsorb and just kind of like eat the baby.
Okay. All right. So that was the other thing that she said it might be. We kind of had both of those conversations because she was like, I wonder if, the baby, it just like reabsorb the baby kind of thing. But
it recognized it as a parasite, so it attacked it and ate it. And
does she have that acknowledgement too, or is this like come to fruition, or you just kind of like
eventually that's what like the doctor of the island comes to realize, because when they first have that meeting that Brian was talking about where the baby disappears, she's not on to any of the vampirism in the town. But then there's some other scenes later that draws her to the conclusion of, oh shit, vampires.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that. That must be a 5 or 6 and 7 thing. Yeah, because I haven't gotten to that point. But I did like the scene. This is where like the blood, because she took her blood work and put it in the window. And this is when she realized something potentially like supernatural was happening, because her vial of blood that she took from Erin is in direct sunlight and starts to like boil.
Okay.
Yeah.
In direct sunlight, because later the priest and even you come to realize, again, huge spoiler alerts here, in I think 5, he starts to realize Riley starts to realize that Father Paul, who is Monsignor Pruitt, has been lying to everyone. He catches him in a lie because the town kind of, whoever we think, the town drunk, jerk.
Yeah.
He makes a connection with Riley, and they start going to the AA meetings together.
Okay,
He makes a kind of a vow to like better himself and starts going in the right direction. And then you're like, are you making me care about Joe? He's going to die.
Yeah.
So Joe, kind of turns a leaf, and you start caring about Joe. Ultimately, Joe says something about his sister just passed away, and then Monsignor Pruitt, aka Reverend Paul or Priest Paul, whatever his name is, Father Paul, says something about how he kills Joe in this very awkward scene where he's like hugging him because he wants to drink his blood, but he's trying to stop himself from doing it. He falls, cracks his head open on the ground, and in a fairly gruesome scene, Father Paul drinks his blood off the floor and out of his massive head wound as he's like shaking on the ground. It's pretty.
Drinks him like a coconut.
Yeah. He put a lime in the coconut, Drank it all up. In any case, he it was
In
pretty.
the Jokinut.
Wow. We went there.
We did it. We
did
did it.
it.
We've done it, and that's
I
the end
think-
of the episode, guys.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty brutal scene. But in any case, he catches him in a lie regarding because they dispose of the body, and then Father Paul goes like, "Oh, he went to the mainland to see his sister." Well, Riley knows his sister's dead, so that's a lie. So he goes to confront Father Paul about that. And Father Paul is freaking out because he has not fed in a while and he doesn't want to kill people. He is getting his blood supply from the main vampire, the winged vampire who he's brought to the island and is stowing away and is circling around and clearly feeding off of people around the island. So Riley goes into the rec center to basically confront Father Paul about the lie, and he sees the big vampire with the wings, but he's got like a coat. He's got Father Pruitt's outfit on, which those pants fit pretty good,
right?
Because he's like 7 foot tall.
Yeah,
he's really tall. He's emptying.
He's more torso than leg.
Yeah, he's putting his blood into the communion kind of decanter. I don't
That
know
even
what it
like
is.
makes sense too when they're like the younger brother Warren, and they're like, "Oh, let's get the wine ready," basically.
Right, and then it's already filled.
Yeah, okay. Like
yeah,
these things are
there's
coming
good
together.
there's a lot of good clues that build up to this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And again, Mike Flanagan, he's good at doing that.
Yeah.
He doesn't make crazy shot choices or anything, but he makes tight stories that have little
he tells
holes.
a story with the shots
Mm-hmm.
really well. I'm not a huge fan of his dialogue.
Some of the dialogue's kind of
and I know he's probably got other people writing it with him or whatever, but this is a great. Well, so I guess first of all, before we get to that, Riley walks in on this happening. The master vampire, the ancient vampire with the wings,
the Dracula,
kills Riley. Sucks his blood and turns him. So now Riley's a vampire. And that whole next episode, or the remainder of that episode, is really one-on-one with Father Paul, aka Monsignor Pruitt, and Riley, just kind of one-on-one with an occasional interruption from Bev. And they are hashing out all of the, basically him trying to talk him into why he was chosen by God. And they never say the word vampire or anything, like he's an angel. And he's basically, giving him it's basically the one-on-one, training video that you have to watch when you get hired at Bob Evans in the back room. You have to go back and watch that training video. He's basically giving him his equivalent of that.
Yeah.
But for being a chosen person of God, a messenger of God, or whatever he believes it to be now. So, in this episode, the one thing I really don't like, and this is my example of the dialogue thing that I was talking about, was the conversation between Aaron and Riley about what happens after you die.
Oh, good. You'll hate the ending.
Good God.
No.
That I really was like, this is going on forever, and this is not how humans talk to each other.
Yeah.
They are giving each other a sermon.
They're giving sermons. They're basically giving essays.
So
Yeah.
that's what I mean by it felt like the writer dumped, and even Kate said this, it felt like the writer dumped a bunch of dialogue onto the script.
Yeah.
And then they were like, just make one of them say it.
Right. Yeah.
Which I hated.
It's not great.
Yeah. So that's what I was worried the ending's going to be.
And that comes back too.
So
you'll hate the ending.
Okay. Well, at least I know.
You'll hate part of the ending.
Yeah,
There's
Yeah, that was my least favorite part. It was just like, it was so inorganic. It was so heavily rehearsed. Not heavily rehearsed by the actors because they were doing the best they could.
Right.
The literal dialogue
It's just
felt like a sermon.
It's not the way somebody who would say like that massive idea would work through it. It's the way somebody who would write it in an essay, because you would write it and then revise it.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not the way somebody would talk it
It
out.
made more sense so first of all, this is my opinion, Kate Siegel's a way better actor than the guy who plays Riley.
Okay.
I just like her better. And for him, it sounded better because you could at least have the oh, he's been thinking about this and for 4 straight years in prison. So
Right.
he has recited this in his own head hundreds of times.
It's the conclusion he came to after researching every religion
Yes.
and everything else.
So this is his elevator speech on what he thinks is going to happen after he dies.
Right.
The way that Aaron's character is meant to kind of, it feels like it should be more organic, but it's not.
Yeah.
And she's frankly, I think she's better. So she did what she could with it, but it still just came out.
Yeah. When
unnatural.
would her character take the time to figure this out?
Right.
Especially after, because this is kind of after she's lost the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And so you would think she would be more focused on the grief, but then she turns it into this like speech about like
Why she believes in God.
where her baby is
And
now.
also, that's not what Catholics believe. None of that. Like, she was talking about how, like, the baby is pure and all this stuff. And it's like, no, like, there's a thing. It's called original sin. And you have not...
You have to get baptized.
Yeah, that's why you have to get baptized. And what you're a devout Catholic, and this is obviously this very, like, orthodox, leaning, heavily conservative Catholic sect that you're part of, essentially. Right. And you're basically just foregoing this entire giant thing, which is this concept of original sin.
But I mean, she definitely alluded that like most of this was all bullshit to her, but it was what she had. Like she found some sort of solace being back on the island by having this religion that maybe her ignorance is kind of part of that, where she's taking like concepts.
Maybe
and that's how she's processing the grief.
But then
of it all.
that's like the whole thing is like they start to get into like episode 5-ish. The church starts to become very militant.
Yeah.
And specifically, Father Paul starts to talk about them as like warriors of God and all this stuff. And some of them are like very turned off by it. And some of them are like, hell yeah, we're warriors of God and all this stuff. And she's like kind of in the I'm still on board camp.
Okay.
So for her to like, be kind of picking and choosing certain things and saying like, I believe this and I don't, doesn't seem consistent with the overall vibe of the church.
Sure.
But I don't know. That's just...
Yeah. That's really not broken until the end of episode 5.
Yeah.
So...
But episode 5 is it's called book 5, the gospel, I guess. That's where shit like really starts to hit the fan. And there was more of that. And I was like, okay, this movie is the vampire monologues now. Like it's just, it got really, really more monologue heavy. But you start to get into this whole thing of like these moral and spiritual dilemmas and how folks are using, their religion and scripture to kind of rationalize very complex and sometimes very wrong-headed, beliefs, feelings, behaviors, whatever. So this is, like I said, you can really see where this is going. Like what Steve says in the last couple episodes, it's about to get real Maggie-y, frankly.
Yeah.
Everyone is weaponizing scripture. Like, the story is the story literally at this point, especially with the dialogue, and all the monologues that is between Father Paul, Monsignor Pruitt, whatever, and Riley, it's bringing to life this, like that whole thing in a very real way by showing like, they're literally doing a physical representation of transubstantiation, which is, for those of you who grew up in Catholic or, Catholic adjacent religion, the idea of like the body and blood of Christ in the sacrament of Holy Communion is literally the blood and body of Christ. Like that's what many, really conservative religious, especially like the Catholic Church believes.
Catholic, Orthodox.
Yes.
Presbyterians are more like, we're doing a representation thing.
Same thing with Lutheran. So I was raised Lutheran. You don't really believe that. Like that's not part of it or whatever.
Right.
But like Catholics believe, or I'm gonna say every Catholic, but the Catholic Church, I would say is probably a better way to say that, believes that there is literally a transformation that happens
from wine to blood and
from bread,
cracker to body.
Yes. And I'm maybe not doing a great job of explaining that, but that's the basic gist of it. And so this metaphor is pretty heavy-handed in that the blood is literal vampire blood, that they're drinking.
Now they're doing real blood and you're really becoming a part of something.
Right. But this whole like evangelization thing is like literally represented by a vampire plague. So
and again, it's also part of that militant speech where he's talking about like the different covenants with God, because there's like the old school covenant of like do what I say or I'll kill you and you'll fucking be sad about it.
Yeah.
And then there's the new covenant, which
Yeah.
is tied to Christ, and that's like he calls it a new morality.
Mhm.
So the new morality that we kind of live in today is like, if you do bad, ask for forgiveness, God will forgive you. You'll go to
that's
heaven.
not Old Testament God. Old
Yeah.
Testament
Old
God.
Testament
I'm a
God's,
smite your
fuck you.
bitch ass. Yeah. So like New Testament
Oh,
is like,
God.
nah, you're cool, bro. Just ask for
Just
forgiveness.
like ask for forgiveness. We'll be
Cool
pros.
about it. Old
Yeah.
Testament God is like, I'm gonna smite your ass.
Yeah.
So now he's kind of saying like the new. So
new
they are
new
basically
is-
saying like this is what Monsignor Pruitt is saying is we are entering into a new era, and we are the people who are living what is going to be the New Testament,
Yeah.
essentially.
So be prepared to do bad, what you think is bad currently,
Mhm.
in the fact of like, you're going to murder other people and turn them into vampires.
Right.
But like that's the new morality.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of like a tie to, again, the MAGA QAnon thing of like,
Mhm.
you might have to hurt your neighbors,
No
but
matter
you're
what.
doing it for the right reason.
Yeah,
Right,
the ends
yeah.
always
Oh,
justify the
God.
Yeah.
means. Yeah, kind of thing. So
Ugh,
at
feeling
this point,
triggered.
the hymns have given me hemorrhoids. Like those hymns that they're singing at the end of each, it's like a
Again,
reoccurring
we
sound
need
thing.
to note that
That's-
quote.
Yeah.
Good God.
Hymns
Okay,
would give me
maybe.
hemorrhoids.
Hymns, okay,
They
sure.
are wearing on me so hard. So, after this much of this scene, or much of this is obviously Riley getting turned, and then him coming to terms with things during this long, drawn-out conversation one-on-one with Monsignor Pruitt and occasionally Bev and Clem, or whatever the fuck his name is. comes in
Sturge.
at one time. Yeah. So here's how it ends, and this is the last scene I saw, and then Steve's gonna have to enlighten us beyond that. But at the end of 5, after they leave, they are now only having mass at night because the priest is a vampire. He can't go out during
Right.
the day.
Yeah.
That's why it's called Midnight Mass.
Yeah,
Instead of, because like
Goodbye,
daily,
everybody.
'cause they were doing daily mass, so now it's
Tip your
Right.
waitresses. 7:30
Yeah.
shows completely different than 9:30 show. But yeah, he does the we're just gonna have the midnight masses or the nighttime masses or whatever. He leaves, and you're kind of not really sure where Riley is on the whole thing or how he's going to deal, because he's like, "What do I do now?" And
he still doesn't find his purpose. I'm like, God, this is the whole thing.
well,
He needs
so
his
so
purpose.
here's this. This did take me a little bit off guard, and I thought this was a nice, and not a twist. And I guess if I really thought about it and wasn't binging them, and I had a week to think about it between episodes, I could have probably anticipated this, but in the moment, I did not. Here's what happened. So, he basically says like, "What do I do now?" And he's like, "You go out into the world. You live your life as this like chosen person of God, aka a vampire." They don't say that. And he basically says like, your senses are gonna be heightened. You're gonna see things in a different way. And he goes out in the world and he sees this is what's happening. He goes to Aaron's house. Basically says, "Come out with me." They kind of redo this whole like thing they did when they were kids. When she was leaving, she took him out in a boat in the middle of the night and explained to him that like, "Hey, I'm leaving." Blah blah blah. He does the same thing to her. Come out in a paddle boat. We're gonna go out in the middle of not in the bay, and we're just gonna kind of talk through this. He tells her the entire story of him getting turned into a vampire and all the things with the priest and all that. So the whole episode is essentially a flashback
Okay.
of that happening and him telling her the story. So you're learning it as she's learning it.
Okay.
Then at the end, she's like, she's kind of getting a little worried, but she's trying not to let it on. Like, if this is true, she just thinks he's crazy. She obviously doesn't believe he's a vampire. So she's like, "Why did you bring me out here? Did you bring me out here so I can't escape? Like,
Right.
why, are you going to do something to me? Like, I'm here to help you. I'm not scared of you, but I'm here to support you." And kind of gives this kind of like, she thinks he's going to do something drastic. He basically says, "No, I did this so I can't escape." The sun comes up. He bursts into flames. He sees basically the woman that the young woman that he killed in the beginning, kind of like telling him it's all okay, essentially, non-verbally. And then, of course, Aaron shrieking
Yeah.
in a really affected scene of
Really
her like
understanding
shrieking
what's
because
actually
he's turning into ash and on fire.
Right.
How did the boat turn on fire, by the way? Because I was like, because you could kind of see at that point what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And Kate and I were like, this boat's going to catch on fire. Is she going to have to swim her ass back? No, she doesn't. And that's the end of 5.
Oh wow.
He has killed
Okay.
himself.
That's pretty
It's-
cool. I feel like he almost needed that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
it
I
was
don't
a
think
huge
he was
catharsis
never,
for
he
him.
was
Yeah.
never going to find
Right.
his purpose, even if someone's like, "Hey, here's a purpose for you." It wasn't going to be the same because he was just like being
Right.
eaten by all the guilt
Plus,
and shit like
he'd
that.
already firmly put himself as an atheist.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't if you go through that whole death monologue, like he's not afraid of death. He understands, like what he understands it, it's not going to bother him. So he would much rather just die than be somebody who's going to cause harm. So yeah. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's cool.
I don't want to spoil the movie, but that kind of cut back and forth between him having that vision and then cutting to him just like bursting into flames and falling apart is very similar to another movie that just came out not too long ago. I don't know if I want to like spoil it, but
It's not Malignant, is it?
no, absolutely not.
I was gonna say I haven't seen Malignant. I'm gonna go see it this week, and everyone's talking about it and saying it's wild and all that stuff. But I haven't.
It's
seen
wild
it yet.
as hell.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
It's not Malignant. No, it came out earlier this year, but if people are on the right track and they know what I'm thinking of, then
I don't.
somebody catching on fire and what they believe and what is happening are two different things.
Oh, came out this year? Okay, because I was thinking Hereditary for a second.
No.
But
No. It's so similar, but
Yeah.
we will revisit.
Yeah, we'll revisit it at some point.
Yeah.
Otherwise, see, episode 6 picks up like right after that, and the whole thing is Riley tells Aaron to run.
Sure.
He tells her like get off the
yes,
island.
yes.
Yeah.
Like
Leave
we're out in the
this.
boat.
Yeah.
We're out in the boat now. Paddle the rest of the way if you can, or just get on a ferry and leave.
Sure.
But Aaron decides no, she's gonna go back and try to save as many people as she can because she's a good person or whatever.
whatever.
Katie doing her thing, trying to save the day.
Yeah, and this is the part where we get into real heavy spoilers. So if you shut off now,
Yeah.
But yeah, basically the whole plan is we're up to they're doing the whole Easter vigil and everything.
Yeah.
and
There's a lead up to that.
They're leading
So we're
to
almost
Easter.
a year then after this, because because
No.
in the third episode we go through the Easter like Ash Wednesday type shit.
No,
so-
that happens. That comes right before Easter.
That's in Lent. So it's a couple weeks. It's only a couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
When they start out,
I
they're
don't
in-
understand religious things.
No,
so
no,
it's
I
all
thought-
right. Yeah,
Here,
it's
I
all right.
actually had to ask it because, like, you have Advent and you have Lent. Or
Okay.
like the two big festivals of the year in the Catholic Church and Lutheran Church and all this. But then they said something of like they called it like normal time,
Ordinary time. Yeah.
which we never in the Lutheran Church growing up never used
Right.
that term. So I was like, what the fuck is ordinary time?
Right, which
She's
is-
like, it's just not Advent and
So
Lent.
it would have been the period. It would have been the period right before Lent started.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but Ash Wednesday is like the day after Fat Tuesday.
Right.
You're
okay.
talking
So-
early spring.
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
so it would have been early
Pardon.
February even.
Pardon my ignorance over here.
Late winter, early spring.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they do Ash Wednesday, and that leads into Lent, and that leads into Easter.
Yeah. Okay.
So
All right, I'm here for it now.
Yeah. Episode 6 is Easter night.
That's right. We're gonna start a vampire church, and you'll learn all of this.
Vampire Church.
You guys are just trying to get
Can
me
we
to
actually
give
just start
into,
a
like,
band called Vampire Church?
If there isn't one already.
I'm sure there is.
We have to fight Vampire Weekend, so
Oh man, I
I
kind of
love our chances.
yeah.
I love Vampire Weekend, but I'm pretty sure we could take Vampire Weekend. Ezra
Whoop on those
Koenig
We
is
doors.
just take all of their
110 pounds
songs and
soaking
make
wet.
them
Yeah.
really satanic. Is that pretty much what
Yeah,
happens?
but it's like satanic yacht rock. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, guys. Satanic yacht rock TM. We're taking that and running with it.
We're all just doing Kenny Rogers, but with corpse paint.
Yeah.
Bryan Adams, but with corpse paint.
Yes.
But Aaron goes back to the island. At this point, also, the doctor has kind of confirmed her suspicions about what the blood is, why the blood is catching on fire,
Okay.
why is it all fucked up like that? And her and Aaron sit down. They have, Aaron confirms.
Okay. This actually makes a lot of sense. I'm glad this happens.
Yeah.
Because it's such a logical thing,
Mhm.
but sometimes this feels like the type of thing that you'd be watching going, why don't Aaron and the doctor talk?
Right.
You know what I mean?
And then Aaron and the doctor do talk.
That's great. I'm
Okay.
glad to hear that.
And there's a very funny kind of thing because like usually when somebody spills their guts like that, and, Riley did it to Aaron, and he's like, Aaron, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but then he bursts into flames, so he can't be crazy.
Sure, yeah.
Aaron,
or he drank a bunch of lighter fluid and did some, I don't know.
Yeah, but then Aaron spills her guts to the doctor, but the doctor has been seeing the blood explode and turn
She
into
already
fire,
has some suspicions.
and she sees her mother de-aging from a lady who can't walk upstairs and remember anything to like a 50-year-old lady.
She literally looks younger than her.
Yeah. By the end, she totally is definitely younger than her. But yeah, so they're kind of in on it, and then Aaron also tries to explain it to the sheriff. The sheriff isn't on board.
No, he's a skeptic through and through.
Very skeptical.
I think in general, he like gave himself away from that very early on, and when he talked about his wife dying, where he's just like, "Fuck all this shit, I don't believe in."
Yeah, the cynical cop is like cynical for a reason. That's all. Like that's a trope for a reason, right?
Yeah. I like Rahul in general, but like he needs to work on his American accent. He's British. So it's
not perfect.
It's not perfect. He definitely slips a lot.
Yeah.
But I like him in general. So
I do. He's a good actor. Yeah, I like him.
Also a handsome guy.
I know. Goddamn, he's good looking. That's most of the reation I like him is because he's so goddamn good looking.
But yeah, so he's not on board. And then you kind of come to the end of episode 6 is they're having Sunday Easter Mass.
Sure. Gotcha.
And then that's where they're going to do the whole big event. And they're going to draw everybody into the town in.
Can I throw something out there and you can confirm whether this is whether my suspicion is confirmed? Earlier on, I want to say probably 5. It was probably the last episode I watched or the one before that.
Yeah.
When Monsignor Pruitt is up on stage or on the pulpit.
Yeah.
There's someone on the wall behind him. Does that come back around? And it looks like it would be where the image of Jesus on the cross and like would be, but it's like covered in what appears to be like some sort of. It appears to be covered by a sheet or a cloak or something.
You know what? So episode 5 would have been Good Friday.
Yeah.
Is that mass? And I can't completely remember
because I kept thinking he's gonna pull it down and it's gonna be winged vampire up there.
That's what you're thinking, but I don't think that's actually what it is. I think because it's Good Friday, they might actually. My church didn't do this, but they might have just covered him because Jesus is supposed to be dead at that point. And then they re-unveil him for Sunday.
Yes, you might be right. I've heard of churches doing that before. I feel like I've been at churches who've done that before.
That sounds familiar to me. I don't remember my churches ever doing it, but that sounds like a thing.
Yeah, peekaboo Jesus. I get it.
Right, yeah. He's like, I'm back. Everybody.
You thought I was gone, but I'm back.
Everybody, I'm back.
I was here the whole time.
Yeah.
Was here the whole time.
But yeah, they have the whole they do Easter Mass, and while they're preparing for Easter Mass, Sturge is going around doing some shady things.
Oh, okay.
Sturge is cutting the power to the island.
Oh, Jesus.
He is doing a lot of boat maintenance on Sunday.
I guess that makes sense now because earlier it seemed like they were spending too much time on him doing storm prep things. So there was some foreshadowing there.
Yeah, so he basically takes everything down and then kills cell phone service right before Mass. And everybody gets led into the church. Pretty much everybody goes to church. Even like Aaron and the doctor's mother, who they know what's about to happen.
Yeah,
but they go anyway.
Because the doctor's mother was like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
She knew.
Yeah. So
But wait. Can we backtrack? I'm trying to think. The doctor's mother, how did she get to church? Because pretty much they were like, she doesn't go to church. How did she?
Well,
she got attacked?
No, she has been. Father Paul has been coming and giving her the sacrament at her home. And feeding her vampire blood.
I must be. Maybe
so she's reverse aging.
Yeah.
Because
she's
of that.
she's still getting it. So, but yeah, he's bringing it to her. But yeah, they do the whole Mass thing, and Father Paul is revealing everything. Like, he reveals that he's actually Father Pruitt. Some other people have caught on already, but he reveals it to everybody.
How did Bev react to that?
Bev's
knew.
Been on board since like 3 episodes.
Yeah, she's been way on board.
Like, she already knew that he was...
She was witness to him dying and coming back.
Yeah.
Remember,
Like
because
when she like the early episode when she shows up to his place and stuff like that. And then
well,
meets
when
him
he's
for the first time?
vomiting, when he vomits blood and everything,
Okay, I
she's
got
in
you.
the same
okay,
room.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Yeah,
good. I'm on board. I'm here for it. All right, come
So
back.
she's been way on board because she's seen the miracles, and that just
Yeah.
affirms
She's
her
been
faith.
basically like his familiar.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, pretty
For a long
much.
time.
I kind of like that name.
Yeah.
That like word. I'm like, I want a familiar.
I want to be familiar.
I feel like if I ever get to a
I wanna
point where
be
I
familiar.
need like an assistant, or if I ever do hire a specific assistant brewer in a future brewery, I'm gonna call them
Brewer's
my
familiar.
familiar.
Everyone's familiar. Or just have like a black cat in the brewery, and then also have an assistant brewer, and make sure they're never in the same room together, so you can always insist they're
Right.
the same person, same entity.
Just fuck with new hires that
Dan-
way.
Oh my god!
Do you guys watch What We Do in the Shadows?
Yes.
I love.
Violence.
What's the familiar's name in there? He's so good.
Starts with a G. Just not
Guillermo.
Guillermo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Guillermo's so great, and then eventually he's a bodyguard, not a familiar.
Right.
but-
Yeah, I fell asleep during the most recent episode last night, but like,
Yeah, I haven't watched this.
I haven't
episode.
seen season
The
3
last
yet,
one I
but-
saw was when they went to Vegas,
Okay.
so that
I
was
haven't
2
seen
weeks
that one.
ago, I think.
Okay.
I haven't started season 3 yet, but
Or not Vegas, Atlantic City.
oh,
Yeah. I was like Vegas. They pretend like they almost anticipate like they're going to Vegas.
Yeah, they're
but
like-
"We're
They're like
going
the
to-"
city that never sleeps,
Yeah.
Atlantic City.
Yeah. Super good.
but yeah, they do mass,
Yeah.
and Pruitt reveals everything, and you see like they have cups of poison prepared in the back.
Oh man, they're going
Jonestown
Jonestown.
shit,
Yeah, they're
shit.
going straight up Jonestown, and then he reveals the angel,
Yeah.
and then the fucking big ass,
guy, yeah.
creepy ass vampire shows up in the back of church, and he's wearing a robe.
Oh yes.
Is he wearing the right color robe though?
Yes.
Like, okay.
So to bring that, the reason he, even in his speech and his reveal, that he says the reason why I wore that gold robe the first day is because I knew we were on the birth of a new era.
Oh, okay.
So he was calling his own shot way early.
Gotcha.
So
All right.
yeah, it was such a throwaway thing that like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, the angel reveals itself, and then
That's satisfying though. I'm glad that.
yeah.
happens.
Oh yeah,
You want the
everybody
vampire in
sees it.
front of the church. That's what
Yeah.
you want to see.
Yeah, everybody sees it. He still they still call it an angel.
Does
Like,
he
it spreads
is he
its wings and-
reminiscent of any other like historic vampire that we know? You know, because I think in my mind,
Like a
I'm-
Nosferatu.
Yeah, I
He's
was
like
gonna say, does he look like
Nosferatu mixed with the Vampires the animated series. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
Gargoyles. the
Gargoyles,
anima- is
yeah.
what I meant.
Yeah, he
Gargoyles
looks like-
the animated series.
Yeah, he looks like a gargoyle Nosferatu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of
I'm
like
excited.
generally any other like monstrous vampire.
Okay.
It never has like a human form or it never blends in any way.
It's that classic, whether it be, I mean, Nosferatu obviously was the one that eventually, and well, because Nosferatu is kind of an unlicensed ripoff, not to say ripoff, but like it's a great film. But it was essentially an unlicensed ripoff of Bram Stoker's Dracula,
Right.
Which in the novelization, or not novelization, in the original novel, the source material, it is a little bit more monstrous. So like the Bela Lugosi Dracula and the sexy suave Dracula, that's not what it's like in the novel.
Right.
So like it's a little bit closer to that, but the fact that it's like big and monstrous and jacked and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I feel like came about in like the 80s and 90s or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they go through the ceremony, and Sturge is the first one to drink poison. So Sturge offers himself kind of as a
Yes,
sacrifice and a
yes.
proof to the
He's
rest of the
he's a
congregation.
dope. Like he's
dope,
gonna do
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. But he offers himself as proof for the rest of the congregation, drinks the poison, dies, comes back. About that time, kind of half the church is on board, half isn't.
Okay.
But then, like the mayor and his wife are trying to get their daughter to drink the poison. You have people trying to force poison on each other.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's definitely Jonestown.
it come- yeah, it come-
Yeah, like it's pretty dark, especially if you know the story of Jonestown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole time the priest is also like yelling, kind of like Jim Jones. He's like,
Yeah.
have faith, be calm.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, God.
And then
All right.
the doctor's mother shoots him in the head.
Nice. Wait, is it a crossbow?
No, it's just
how
gun.
sick would it be if it was
Wait,
a crossbow?
the priest. She shoots the head.
Well, yeah.
Sturgis,
Oh,
or
yeah.
Sturgis.
I'm sorry because I missed the part where after the vampire reveals himself, the sheriff is actually in church at that time. His son
'Cause
has
For the
drawn
first
him.
time. Okay.
Yeah, we forgot that his son is like Catholic curious.
Yeah.
No. I caught that. You catch that in the third episode too.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
like it gets talked about.
Because his son has just been questioning faith. He's questioning
Sure.
everything that's been forced on him.
Right.
Because it wasn't his choice to move to the island. It wasn't his choice to be Muslim. So he's been
Right.
questioning all this.
Yeah.
But yeah, his son draws him into church, and then he sees a fucking vampire, so he tries to shoot it.
Yeah.
Oh god. Okay, so he tries to shoot the big ass.
Yeah, he's like,
vampire.
oh god, there's a fucking vampire.
I literally come to Catholic church one time.
Yeah.
And there's a
And
fucking
I
vampire.
Right.
didn't bring my silver bowl this time.
So
God
yeah, he
What
tries
the fuck?
he tries to shoot it,
Super
but then the
inappropriate.
congregation tackles him. The gun spills free. But then the doctor's mother picks up the gun and shoots the priest in the head.
Okay.
But he comes back as well. Like he's
No one's
obviously
gonna fucking
survives.
die because
Right.
we don't got silver bolts. We don't got fucking stakes.
Well, that's werewolves
Yeah.
anyway. Come on.
What's up?
Silver
That's
bullets is werewolves.
It says werewolves.
Wait, what? I thought that was like vampires where you had to like
No.
still shoot him in the head though. So we're talking
No.
stakes. So we just need
Yeah, stake
stakes
'em.
right
You need
now.
wooden stake.
We just that's
or
it.
holy water
Or you
what-
can you can decapitate them and stuff their mouths with garlic.
Yeah. Listen, these are advanced vampire fighting techniques. I realize you didn't grow up going to church. That's what you learn in vacation Bible school.
I think you're getting the silver stuff from Blade. Blade does
Maybe,
use
maybe.
silver stuff.
Yeah, you're right. They do.
I just like something silver was like sticking in my head.
Yeah.
But no. But like then why?
But
Okay.
also The Witcher uses all silver stuff
But
on
like
everything.
why?
Okay, I
I
only
feel like
watched, like,
even
the
if
first
you shoot
3
the
episodes of
vampire
that.
in the head though, that's pretty cliche. Like why isn't she just not shoot him in the head?
She's just
Okay.
shooting guns.
So not in the heart, not in the head, no
Yeah.
decapitation. So she failed.
Right.
Do better.
Yeah. So she kills him,
Do
and at this
better.
point, everybody else is kind of dying as well from the poison. But it's only like half the church is dying,
Sure.
and then half the churches rise back up, and you have a
Now we have
total
the
fucking
vampire
bloodbath.
army.
Yeah, you have a total bloodbath
Yeah.
in the church.
So the den. Okay, keep going. I'm gonna stop interrupting because now I'm just getting anxious.
But Aaron, the doctor's mother, the sheriff, and Riley's mom escape.
Okay.
Riley's dad kind of gives himself as a sacrifice to let everybody else escape.
He's
Okay.
so typical. Like I definitely
Yeah.
could have recognized
Yeah.
that. What a weak bitch.
Also,
I
also
honestly
the
hated that
I
character.
really did. I hated him
Riley's
too.
dad was so bad.
you hate him, but honestly, he
asshole.
grows on you.
Really?
Yeah, he grows on you.
All right.
He's
Not even. No, I don't even like. I'm sorry. I hit the portrayal of him. I think was bad.
Mhm.
It gets better, but the early portrayal of him, of like the awkward, defeated dad.
Yeah.
It's just like it's.
He-
there's
he-
no subtlety
yeah.
to the performance.
he gets better, and he does grow on you in the end.
yeah.
But also Warren and the young girl Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa.
Yeah, they both
Who's
escape.
Warren? Why am I missing Warren? Who's Warren?
The younger
little brother. Riley's younger brother.
Riley's younger brother. Yeah.
Right.
So they all escape the church. Total bloodbath.
I'm kind of surprised Lisa did that too. Though.
Well,
Anywho.
it was, I mean, scary and monstrous, and her
She
parents
is super
her parents were
religious,
trying
though.
to force her to drink the poison, so
Okay.
it like put her off. But yeah, they all escape, and at that point they hunker down at Aaron's house, and they're explaining, what do we do next? What's the plan? We can't escape the island because the ferries have been sent away. All the boats are screwed up. They're like, possibly there's a boat out there we can get on. And they decide, no, we can't get on a boat because they're going to get on a boat.
Yeah.
And they decide to burn the marina down. Yes.
Okay.
When they decide to burn the marina down, a firebomb comes through Aaron's window because Bev and Sturge have tracked them down.
Wow.
And they set Aaron's house on fire.
Okay.
Gotcha. Bev doing Bev shit.
Yeah. Again, they
Fucking
still
Bev. I legit. She does such a good job at making me want to fucking
Yeah,
murder
you
her.
hate Bev
Yeah.
so
You hate
much.
her from the beginning. Like she is so just stuck up. Like again, we talk about the Trumper. Like you think about, she always finds a way to manipulate everything is said to like somehow fit her agenda. And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
know who you
And-
are, and I fucking hate you.
And she does it right here at this point.
yeah,
She starts quoting Revelation
yeah,
after she sets Aaron's house on fire, and she's like, oh, the dead will rise, and he will blot out the sun, and a third of the population will die. I can't remember the entire
Sure.
passage,
Sure.
but she decides, oh, now that we have this fire going, let it burn. And they just basically decide to burn the whole entire island down,
yeah,
except for that church and the rec center that's tied
okay.
to the church.
yeah.
Yeah. So everybody else escaped out the back of the house except for Riley's mom. She was the sacrifice in this point. But all through the town, people are getting dragged out of their homes, attacked, eaten. Mm-hmm. It's like
this is definitely like 30 Days of Night-esque vibes.
At this point, the isolated small town vibes.
Yeah. I don't know why I didn't think about it until this exact moment. I'm like, man,
you know
I feel
what?
like you kind of heard
Riley
the stories.
Is very Josh Hartnett like.
A little bit.
I know he
he's
burst into
dead by
flames and
now.
stuff like that, but like
they both have that like breathy way of speaking and stuff.
Super slightly dreamy, whatever.
Bland white guy with short white hair or short hair. Yeah.
Kate loves Josh Hartnett. I'm always like, Josh Hartnett fucking sucks. I don't know. Okay, I don't dislike him that much, but like he's so breathy. Sorry.
He's fine, but when you compare him to like real actors, it's like
it's like Riley. Riley's you're so breathy.
Haters.
Why are you so breathy?
Yeah.
He's like, this is what happened to me and Marissa. Like he's just so breathy.
I have this dream that we go out on a boat, but you're not there.
Stop being so emo and breathy, Riley.
Yeah. So
don't even understand.
There's fires on two sides of the island.
Okay.
Everything's going to hell. Everything's burning down.
Yeah.
And at some point they decide like it's time to get the kids off the island. So they send Lisa and Warren on their way. Get out of here as best you can and leave.
Yeah.
And,
like in a rowboat type
situation. In a rowboat.
Vampires turn into mermaids and just like turn into fish and then like attack the boat.
Under the sea.
That's season 2, Meg. Season 2. The whole thing burns down and they wind up in a confrontation back at the church.
Okay.
Because Pruitt recovers from the gunshot wound to his head, and he realizes that Bev let them out of the church, which was not the original plan.
Okay.
The original plan was to keep them and try to also talk to them the same way he talked to Riley, get everybody reacclimated, because there is this uncontrollable urge to bite people and drink people's blood. And that's what you find out is going out throughout the town. It's just people are attacking.
So he is the guy pursuing the fool's errand, which is controlling the uncontrollable.
Right.
Whereas Bev is the scorched earth Old Testament psycho.
Right.
Mm.
And
so you knew they were going to conflict at some point. You just didn't know when.
And then it
There's
comes
like
back.
no forethought in this that like, yeah, we're going to turn all these people, but now we're really going to have nothing to eat.
Right, exactly.
What the fuck?
But and that's the way basically it ends though. But because Bev does come in conflict with the father, and the father's like, this was supposed to be about God. It's not about you. And Bev moves the goalpost again for herself to put her in the right and put all the other vampires in the right.
Yeah.
And you go, and that's where it really clicks with the MAGA analogy, because she's constantly moving all the goalposts, but it's like they've burned down every institution, the general store, the sheriff's office, the marina, everything's been burnt down, but she's still trying to put herself in the right and put herself above
she's still
everybody
righteous
else.
in so many different ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
She is a megalomaniac, sociopathic, just all of those things.
Yeah. In this time of the confrontation, the sheriff, Aaron, and Aaron's mother. Actually, no, Aaron's mother has already been at the church for a while, because after she shoots Pruitt, the angel takes her and kills her. So he kills her outside of the church, but Aaron's mother. Or no, the doctor's mother.
The doctor's mother.
My bad. But yeah, the doctor's mother has come back, and she is very young now.
Okay.
Because she's now a vampire. And it's like her and Pruitt are having... I won't completely give away what their relationship is, but they're having a thing.
They're definitely banging a lot.
They not a whole lot, but enough.
At least one time.
Yeah, enough.
Yeah. So is he the father of the doctor?
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of knew that was going to be the case.
Interesting.
They're having a discussion about that. And then during the confrontation with Bev, the sheriff, Aaron, and the doctor have all snuck back in, and they've decided to burn the church and the rec center to give the vampires nowhere to go.
Sure.
Because they've burnt everything else, and they totally plan on hiding there during the day. Mm-hmm. Very Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
But they burn the church, they burn the rec center, and everybody's just left to do their own thing. Aaron is attacked by the master vampire, and she gets some good stabs in, and it leads to one of the more unsatisfying things about the ending, because she's stabbing his wings to keep him from flying away, but he still flies away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, are they setting up that there could be a second season? It's more satisfying if he just dies on the island.
Yeah, you hope. I mean, where would they really go from here?
Yeah.
I mean, so does anybody else survive? Like any of the main characters?
The two kids survive because they're on the boat when they see the main vampire flying away.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, like Aaron has been killed by the main vampire more or less. The sheriff has been shot multiple times by Bev. His son is a vampire. Yeah.
That's a bummer.
So, yeah, it all comes crashing down.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was not going to end well.
No.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
For where I'm at, I guess apparently where takeaway is keep going.
Yeah. Shit
Keep
starts
fucking
to hit the
going.
fan in a big way in 4 and 5.
I'm way more intrigued, like
5
getting the
especially.
hint that like I didn't catch on early enough that it's a vampire thing, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited because again, I feel like we're not seeing a lot of like any interpretations of vampires like a lot anymore.
Yeah. It's
Twilight
pretty good.
really ruined a lot of things.
Yeah, and that's why people stop doing vampires mostly.
Yeah. They're like,
They're
no
like, ugh.
sparkles, no problem.
It's like, ew, that's not a vampire. Yuck. But
What I was hoping, and again, haven't seen the last episodes, I was hoping they were going to get to a place where, like, at the end, we learn that all the major religions are based on, like, the origin stories of monsters and cryptids. And, like, Buddhism is based on, like, Bigfoot or whatever, and they all battle, and it's a
I
fucking
really think this
kaiju
could
almost
be a
situation.
book. That would
Yeah.
be hilarious.
well, now that I've told you that the
TM.
vampire might escape,
Yeah, maybe we can go
still
that direction.
possible. Like maybe the vampires are Christ, and maybe
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, whatever other,
I feel
Nessie
like that
comes
seems
into
more
play. and
logical to me than actually thinking in Jesus Christ.
yeah. Well, hey,
Like,
Listen, Nessie.
I'm telling a lot about myself
Maybe
right now,
was a
though.
disciple. I don't know. Listen, who am I to say?
Nessie was a dinosaur.
all right, man.
So
Mummies.
I'm excited. I'm still going to watch the last couple episodes because I
Yeah,
want to
I'm
see all this
definitely
stuff
gonna finish it now.
come to fruition. But
Yeah, it's worth it. There is still some heavy monologuing that happens,
I can only imagine. Yeah.
but overall, it's pretty satisfying. You know, the people that you want to get theirs.
Mhm.
It's you feel bad for some of the characters. I don't completely love the turn Father Pruitt goes through.
Okay.
Okay.
Once he kind of realizes that he's done wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and he reveals other motivations for why he's done what he's done. And it's just,
Yeah. He's the most interesting character by
he's
far.
he's the most interesting, and that's why I feel the most let down by what his turn is.
Sure.
I feel
So-
like I've throughout the whole like just from what I've seen now, I felt like it could get real creepy. Like I feel like he could just be a weird character that's just odd and off, or be something deeper that's just not been revealed. And clearly,
Yeah.
it's like a little combo of both.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah, that's the other thing is like the show definitely loses its creep factor in the last 2 episodes, if not the last 5 episodes, just because like they give away the ghost of like, oh, it is vampires, and it's like there's no need to have like jump scares anymore, because now you just have to work through the inner dynamics of how do you solve a vampire
Here's a
problem on an island.
Here's a sidebar question. It just like thinking about like, have we had like, can you think of a vampire movie that had jump scares?
Sure, 30 Days a Night has to
Yeah,
have
That's
they
actually
definitely
good.
do.
That's actually
I
good.
mean,
Yeah.
Salem's Lot
W.
has something. That was a
Yeah.
TV miniseries
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of thing, but there certainly is.
just
I mean,
think-
a lot
just
of them are
curious,
more
genuinely.
atmospheric and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
'cause I
that.
just
Yeah.
don't know if that's always the vibe. Of
John
them,
Carpenter's Vampire definitely has quite a few jump
Sure.
scares.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think.
Blade
In-
2, guarantee the vampire pops out of the water.
Sure.
I think that's.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to think if there
I
is.
feel like there's always
in-
had this more like lingering creep factor too.
Yeah.
sometimes,
Most of the time.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've even seen the 92 Bram Stoker's, but I guarantee there's probably something that's
Yeah.
like.
There's a few,
pop out.
especially like when what was her name, Emily or whatever. But when she's in like the glass coffin kind of thing, and she first realizes that she's a vampire, and she kind of does the like jump up kind of thing with the crazy face. I feel like that's a bit of a jumpy scare. It's been a while since I saw that.
Yeah.
But God
That's
bless
cool.
you, Keanu Reeves.
It's good
wherever you are.
revisit. Let's do this.
Well, awesome. Yeah. So if you haven't watched Midnight Mass, boy, we just spoiled the living shit out of it. And it's your fault because we told you.
We warned you. We warned you multiple times.
But you should still go watch. I enjoyed it. I thought it was time well spent. It's not my favorite thing in the entire world, but it was definitely worth the watch.
Popcorn for this episode.
I've been eating these goddamn bag of bones here for a while and dots, and now I got spicy things stuck in my teeth. It's a whole scenario that I'm going to have to deal with.
I was actually happier with this one than like his past 2 Netflix shows. Like Bly Manor, I couldn't even finish.
I didn't watch Bly Manor because I could
so fucking boring.
And I definitely might have cried. I don't know. Like it just got
those were a little. They just were like a little bit. They were like grief porn a little bit to me.
Yeah,
like,
they are.
Bly Manor I didn't watch, so I can't speak to that one. But Haunting of Hill House, I just felt was kind of in that grief porn vein.
Yeah, I liked it. And then like the episode where it's basically like one take, which it's like somewhere sandwiched, but it's in the funeral home, and the whole episode feels like one long take. That was interesting enough to keep me going.
Yeah. I didn't watch the last however many episodes of it. Yeah. I gave up on it.
Yeah. Bly Manor was so fucking boring though, and then this one, because it switched quick enough, there was enough hints that it wasn't ghosts. Yeah. It kept me going.
Yeah.
So.
Sure.
But absolutely worth checking out, especially if you got the Netflix subscription already. So
the old makeup is hilarious, though.
So
the old makeup's
not
so
to get
bad.
too much right back into it, but we immediately, as soon as we started watching it, that was the biggest giveaway to me that it was going to be a vampire story.
Yeah.
Was everyone's aged up in a not convincing way at all.
Right. Very badly.
It reminded me so much of This Is Us. Like when they do like the modern and then the flat back. So Kate watched it, like they do like a whole thing where it's like them in modern times grown up, and then half the show is like them, when in the 70s or 80s or whatever. And the one main character, she always has really terrible age up makeup on. And this, for me, I was like, it's going to be something vampire related because these people are going to get younger and younger and younger. So,
other than that, it's fine.
yeah, absolutely worth a watch. But anything else? Wrapping up Midnight Mass on the Netflix.
Just getting myself hyped up for the next episode. Yeah.
I know. Listen, I'm gonna have to do some smelling salts or something.
Oh my god,
the episode.
I completely just blocked out the fact that I had to watch The Ward.
At least I get to watch that one for the first time. I've watched Ghosts of Mars once.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Same.
I have to watch it again. Well, we all have to watch it again. I'm coming in. I'm coming in. Basically into a boxing match with 2 hands tied behind my back. So we'll see how that goes.
But you got Jason Statham. You got Pam Grier. You got Ice Cube.
We got
heavy hitter.
Oh god, Cube. I'm kind of terrified.
We do have Cube. I would feel like I'd be better off. With one of those TV movies that we kept off the list, frankly, that I've never seen. But you know what? We'll give it a goddamn go. And we're going to talk about some John Carpenter shit. We're going to talk about some spooky Ukis next week. And remember, we have a bunch of awesome kind of Halloween themed stuff coming at you in the month of October. So once again, if you haven't already, check us out on the social medias. The @HalloweenIsForever on Instagram, @HallowForever on Twitter, Halloween is Forever Podcast on Facebook, Halloween is Forever Pod on the Gmails. And yeah, shoot us a note if you've got any suggestions for upcoming episodes because listen, I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I'm absolutely getting ahead of myself right now because spooky season is the greatest time of year, but I'm also a diehard fan of holiday, like winter holiday horror, like Christmas horror movies, and I am just barely off in the horizon. I can barely see it. I am thinking about that episode, and it's going to be fantastic.
Thinking about Ginger Dead Man.
Ginger Dead Man, Jack Frost.
Santa's Sleigh.
I love fucking Santa's Sleigh. Bill Goldberg.
Krampus, which is actually a good movie.
Yeah. Listen, Santa's Sleigh is a good movie. Anyway, if you got suggestions for topics and that sort of thing, shoot them our way as well. So, as always, thank you so much for listening. And for the Halloween's Forever crew, I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
Bye, 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 bye.